Today, I'm going to show you how to build a complete lithium iron phosphate battery from a kit that comes with everything you need from a US supplier. What's up everybody? My name is Dan, welcome to Freely Roaming. Today I'm coming to you guys from the beautiful mountains of Boulder, Colorado. We just spent the last week or so spending time in Colorado while attending the Overland Expo Mountain West show in Loveland, Colorado. I met a few of you guys at the show and it was great to see you guys in person. We held 4 classes at the show, 2 of them about traveling across Europe, 1 about raising kids on the road, and 1 specifically about DIY lithium batteries and solar. So for the last couple of months I've been traveling around with my SunFunKits DIY lithium battery pack. I got one of these kits from them who are based in Louisiana. These kits come complete with everything you need, including the battery pack if you choose to, or you can also choose to use your own battery and use your own BMS as well. But I chose one of the kits that came with a automotive grade, certified grade A lithium iron phosphate battery cells from EVE, that's 280 amp hours, similar to the batteries that I've used in the past. These are really great because a lot of the questions that I get from people is, where do I find cells from vendors that are reliable? How do I know that I'm not going to get ripped off? What I always tell them is that if you're going to try to find the best deal for the lowest price, there's going to be an increasing risk of the vendors selling you either grade B batteries posing as grade A cells, or you may have problems with shipping and delivery. Your best case scenario is try to find a vendor that is based in the US with good reviews, which is how I came across SunFunKits. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium. This kit altogether is about $1,200, but that comes with everything you need. A great 200 amp BMS, Bluetooth connection, as well as self-heating modules. So basically this kit is everything that you could ever imagine in a battery. It also comes with a case that's extremely compact with 3D printed brackets that puts everything together. So in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you guys exactly how one of these batteries go together. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, here we have the SunFunKits complete battery build kit, including these are the EVE 280 amp hour. They're the LF280K cells. And they came packed really well, actually. Nicely padded with all the foam. And even these corners are reinforced with these plastic corners. And let's take a look at the cells. There are 4 of them. They come 2 per box. So to take it out, you pull out this foam piece in between. And we'll just inspect one of the cells. Just like the other cells that I got, these also have laser welded studs, which is really nice. And these are actually labeled with a lot more information than you would typically find in any cells that you get from AliExpress. Everything looks really good. The only thing I can see is that this side of this plastic wrapping has just a little bit of scuff marks. There's no bulging of any kind. So that's one of them. Here's the second one. A little bit of scuff marks on this plastic here. Nothing serious. Bottom looks good. Let's take a look at this one. This one's pristine, no scuff marks of any kind. No bulging. All the sides are flat. Okay, and then the last cell. This one is also perfect. Here is everything you need to build a lithium iron phosphate battery pack. They included a 200 amp BMS. This is their SunFunKits BMS. It says Max 4S connection. It says 48 volt, which I'm not sure why it says 48 volt. This should be a 12 volt pack. Comes with a Bluetooth dongle and comes with port for the balancing lead, and then 2 temperature sensors. And you have your B minus here and then your C minus there. So one goes to the main battery negative and the other one becomes your pack negative. Big heat sink on the bottom. It's really nice. You get a bag of cables, wires, hardware, rope handle. And of course you get bus bars. And then here's some stackable brackets. These are 3D printed. And this one comes pre-installed with an active battery balancer. So there'll be a cable that's in there that this will go to. This is the BMS bracket that's designed for this BMS to sit in. So when you put that in, you mount this over so the BMS doesn't move. And then inside this box, you have this top battery hold down. And then you can see on the inside there's some foam on both sides to help to give it a little bit of compression when you push it in. Between each cell, you can also use these spacers that they 3D printed. And this particular model has heating pads that are on both sides. And then here's the power terminal for the heating pads. And these heating pads, I believe, connects directly to the BMS, so it can be controlled by the BMS. With the Bluetooth dongle, the temperature sensors, you should be able to control when the heating pads come on and off. And that's everything you need to build this battery. Okay, so the first step is I'm going to take all of this stuff apart. This is the battery or the cell hold down bracket. And here's the inside. Comes with a couple stickers you can put on the outside. It does comes with a complete assembly manual. You can follow this step by step. 29 pages, so it's really complete. You basically have everything you need to be able to build this battery. So you want to have your cells, again, in alternating order. Positive, negative, positive, negative. So the first cell that's going to go in will be this one. Negative will be on top. And then I'm going to put a spacer in. The orange ones are 1 millimeter thick. And then the green ones are 1.5 millimeters thick. All right, the second one goes in. Negative, positive. Okay, one more go in. Let's do another orange one. Skip the third one, put in the last one. So that way you're not scraping it against this aluminum angle that's at the end here. So let's do that. Oh, it's gonna be a tight fit. Let's see if we're gonna be able to do it even. Oh yeah, it's a tight fit, really tight. I'm not sure I wanna use these spacers. They're so tight. I'm not gonna use these, actually. You don't have to, you can if you want, if you're cautious about making sure these sides aren't chafing. You don't actually need these. And they're really tough to get in. So I have one in here just to take up some space. But these two, I'm just gonna skip it. The heating pad's in there. We have one battery separator. And I'm just gonna skip the rest. One of the things they also recommend is to not charge these batteries fully. Because when you charge them fully, they're gonna bloat just a little bit, or they could possibly bloat a little bit. So if you don't charge them fully, you're gonna have an easier time getting these in there. And when they do charge full and they swell up a tiny bit, it'll just kind of help compress everything. And then it's here, at this stage, you wanna get into your bag of goodies. This bag will have, oh, here's some spacers. So here you can see, this is negative, this is positive. And then these spacers go in like this. With these spacers in, you can line up. This negative here is going to be your main negative, and this positive here will be the main positive. Now that plate goes down, so then now we don't have any bulging, and this is going to sit nice and flat. Now we put the bolts in. So we'll take out from these bags some of these wiring harnesses. This one right here, this is going to be for your active cell balancer that comes with the kit. which is mounted to this bracket right here. So this would just plug right into this when it's hooked up. Okay. This one right here is your sensing wires, your battery sensing wires. We're going to also need this guy right here. This is a double 6/0 gauge silicone coated stranded wire constructed with crimped lugs and heat shrink. And there's 3 more that I got that came with it. I think I'm going to use this one. I think these have varying levels of bend depending on how much curve you want to have in your cable. So we'll see which one we ultimately need. But one of these is going to work. A couple of rope handles you need at the end, and a couple of plastic sleeves that go on the rope handles for easier to carry, and then a bunch of hardware. And that'll come in later as well. We'll see how that goes. So we'll start putting these terminals on. So this black wire is going to be first cell negative. Before I do that, you're going to want to put this lug on first. This lug should always go on first because this one needs to make the most contact. You want to be careful when you have this on, that this end doesn't touch any of the other lugs. From the sensing wire, the black one, and then I'm going to take the cell balancer wiring loom, also take the black one. And these two are going together. And it's also going to go on first cell negative. Okay, and then we'll stick a serrated flange nut on that, just finger tight for now, so they stay in place. Second cell, we're going to put a bus bar on it, and then we will put from these 3 white wires with the green lug. It's nicely labeled for that. This is going to go on either one of these. This is the same terminal. It's either going to be the first cell negative or the second cell positive. I mean the first cell positive or the second cell negative, because this is sensing the same voltage. It doesn't really matter which one you put it. And then this is also going to get from the battery balancer, active balancer, you're going to take the green wire and couple these up together. So you can either put them both in the same lug, or you can do one on the positive of the first and one on the negative of the second, which is what I'm going to do. So in this case, it doesn't matter because we're sensing the same voltage. Alternatively, you can put them both on the same lug if you want, either one. In my other video, I put them all on the negative side, but alternatively, you can put it all on the positive side of the previous cell. Okay, next one, we're going to stick another bus bar on. Goes from positive to negative, so we're creating a series connection. Then we'll take the next white wire from the battery sensor. I'm going to stick this one. This one's going to have a yellow lug. What's really nice about these is that they're all color coded by the color of the lugs. And I think that's really smart of them. I'm going to stick that there in the third cell negative. I'm going to stick a serrated flange nut on there. And then from the active balancer, I will pull the yellow wire. The yellow wire is going to go here. They make it really, really easy because the colors they chose for these lugs on the cell balancer, for the white wires, they chose these color lugs that match the appropriate color of the active balancer. So I think that's really smart. And again, it's all just kind of finger tight for now because we're going to have to kind of negotiate where we're going to tidy up all the wiring afterwards. Okay, and then the Now we have the 4th cell negative battery sensing wires. I'm going to stick this one again. This has got the blue lug. That's going to go on 4th cell negative. And then the corresponding one here is going to be the white wire, also with a blue lug. That's going to go on the same bus bar. Okay, and now finally, from each one of these, we just have the red wire left. This red wire is going to go on the main positive, and they're both going to go on the same positive. You're going to want to put this cable on there because this is going to be your main positive. So that goes down first, and then these two go together. Serrated flange nut, down, and there we go. We're in business. So let's give it a quick little test to make sure all these wires are hooked up correctly. We have my multimeter, main negative, and main positive. 13.18, perfect. So we've got a good series connection. And then if we go to each of these, we're going to start with the battery sensing wire. So if we stick the positive one on the very end where the red is, okay, and then we should be able to touch these. 13.18. The next one over should be a little less. 9.88. Next one over. 6.59. And then finally 3.29. Good. These are all done right. And we'll do the same with this one. Red on red. And then total pack voltage 13.18. 3 cells, 9.88, 2 cells, 6.59, and then just 1 cell, 3.29. Perfect, so both of these wiring harnesses are done correctly. So then now what we can do is we can kind of tidy up these wires. You know, you just kind of want to bundle them up. Just like when I built my other batteries, they didn't cut these wires to different sizes. Even though it's a minuscule number, we're talking microvolt differences, but you will get differences in measures of microvolts when you have shorter wires versus longer wires. Does it practically matter? No, probably not. But it is good practice to have, just so that you're doing things correctly. This is your active balancer. So this goes upside down this way. So we'll go ahead and plug in the active balancer. The second we plug it in, it's going to start actively balancing. Now the active balancer is turned on. You can tell because of the light down here. The active balancer is on. We can flip it around. It's going to mount on like this. And then we will put the screws in. Okay, so that's the active balancer bracket. Put your capped on tape over the top. 10 millimeter nut, and then we will snug them all up. It doesn't have to be crazy tight, but tight enough so they don't come loose. It's mostly these inside ones. Once you put the BMS cover on, you're not going to be able to get to them, so just mostly snugging down these middle ones. Now we're ready for the BMS bracket. There's some long ones and some short ones. Long ones go here. Short ones go here. Make sure they're pretty snug, but not too snug, because these are 3D printed plates. Even though they're pretty tough, you can still crack them using these stainless hardware. And then now, figure out which way the BMS has to go. Okay, you want the B minus to face the negative, the battery negative side. So that way your C minus will go out to your
your pack positive. So before we do that, let's get the other two lugs on here. So we're going to have a negative. It's going to go like this. This is going to be your pack negative. That'll go on your C minus. So you want to go, this is a nylon lock nut. The main battery negative is going to come around and it's going to connect to the BMS like this. So that's going to go the bolt through here. Let me flip this around so it's easier to work on. Okay, since the BMS is going to sit down this way, so it's going to flip over, so I'm going to flip this BMS like this, and then I'm going to connect my bolt with the lock nut through that. And then I will tighten it down real good. Then I flip the BMS over so I can also maybe loosen this a little bit. Just kind of get this position just right so it fits inside the case. Now that it's in the right place, go snug first this up on the cell, and then I will snug this down on the BMS. So there we go. We have the BMS negative, the B minus connected to, this would be main negative. And our main positive is over here, and our pack negative is going to be right here. That's going to get connected to the bottom of this, and it's going to flip over. At this stage, you'll be tempted to plug in your BMS, but you actually shouldn't do that just yet. The second you plug in your BMS balancing cable, this is going to be activated, and we don't want that because these are dangerously close to each other right now. So we're going to do that at the very, very end when we're ready. So until we do that, we're going to just leave this wire. Well, this is your Bluetooth dongle, so we'll leave that alone. And right now is a good time to take your temperature sensors and kind of just tuck them into wherever you want it to be. You can tape it down if you want, or for this particular build, I'm just going to kind of stick it under here, someplace down below where you can kind of see what the temperature is like underneath. So I'm just going to tuck them in there below. All right, so now we're going to stick the BMS hold down bracket right over the top so the BMS doesn't move. And these are all specifically designed for this BMS, and then they support multiple BMSs from their website. So when you go place your order for one of these, if you don't order your BMS or cells from them, just make sure that you're ordering the right 3D printed brackets so that they fit together correctly. As you can see, it's a really, really nice, snug fit. So nothing moves, everything stays in place. Everything is designed exactly for the parts that you're using. All right, so we have just about the whole pack ready. A couple more things we have to do. We have to wire up these the plugs for the heating element. One of them is going to go right here. This is going to be the BMS's way of supplying power to the heater. This is going to be the negative. The heater negative will go here. You don't want this heater to be always on. You want this heater to only turn on when the BMS tells it to. The negative of the heater is going to be the one with the black lug, the black color heat shrink on the lug. Tuck some of this wire in, maybe put it behind. Okay, that's the heater. And then we can bundle this up and zip tie it later if we want. And then here's the positive for the heater. Now the positive is always going to be connected to the battery, so it's just going to go right here. And this is the last part. We're going to actually connect the top now. You have these 4 screws that hold down the lid. So set that aside first, flip it over. Positive is going to go here, negative is going to go here. So you're going to want to bend these wires a little so they go to their appropriate terminals. You can see why it's important now to not have your BMS activated, because these two positives and negatives are dangerously close. So we don't want to short anything out. So I'm just going to go ahead and readjust this a little bit, give it a little more flexibility. And this is also where you may want to use maybe a different one. So they give you an extra one depending on how much flexibility you want to have, how much bend you want to have. But I think this one's going to work. Positive. Making sure we're making really good contact. So there we go. We got the positive attached. We got the negative attached. Everything looks good. Let's see if it'll close. First of all, should close. Yep, that's gonna close. Take the bit as Kapton tape. I'm gonna just tape down this Bluetooth module. Tape it on here like that. All right, so now with everything in place, everything wired up, I can finally plug in my BMS, which will activate it, and let's hope nothing bad happens. There it is, I see the light. We got a light. Our battery should be working. Negative, positive. Do we have power? 13.16. Now let's do the last little bit of assembly, which is screwing our top. There we go. We got a SunFunKits battery. Positive, negative on the outside. Give it another test. We should be doing good. 13.16. And I guess as a final thing, we can put on these rope handles, right? Sure, why not? Okay, that's one side. There we go. I guess, yeah, we can stick one of these stickers on there, right? I feel like we've accomplished building this battery today. And we can give credit where credit is due. SunFunKits battery. Make it go on nice. Let's do the small one on the other side. What do you guys think? Is this something that you guys are interested in trying? If you are, check out the description below. I'll tell you exactly where to get one of these. And in an upcoming video, I will also do a capacity test to make sure that this passed. But being that they're certified auto-grade lithium iron phosphate cells, I have no doubt in my mind that this is gonna pass the capacity test. But of course, we can go ahead and do one anyways.
So there you go. There's a SunFunKits DIY lithium iron phosphate battery pack. You just need a few simple tools and you can put together one of these batteries in about 30 minutes. The instruction manual was really great, complete with full pictures and everything you need to put it together. Still, make sure that you take all the precautions that you normally would. SunFunKits has taken a lot of these decision-making process out of the equation for you by choosing the right lugs, the right conductors, and the right parts to put together a battery like this. Now you just have to do your part. Be careful when you assemble it and follow their instructions very carefully every step of the way. Thanks as always for watching. If you have any comments, ask them in the questions below. If you're interested in one of these kits, I'll put the link down below in the description as well. Hope you guys are having a good summer. I'll see you guys in the next one.